And action. Welcome to another incredible episode of the Action Podcast. Today, we are on episode 81, and we got a few movies on tap. Like we had mentioned last week, the movies are starting to roll out. So these episodes are going to be a little bit thicker than normal. So today on tap, we were able to check out Maestro. That's Bradley Cooper's latest directorial effort, in which he also stars in. He also co-wrote that with Josh Singer. But that's playing in Los Angeles only. So, so it'll come on Netflix December 20th. Next, we have Wish, which is Disney's latest animation film. Next, we have Trolls Band Together. And following that, we have Genie, which you can see now streaming on the Peacock network. Then we have Next Goal Wins, which is directed by Taika Waititi. And then lastly, we have In the Land of Saints and Sinners, and that's a new Liam Neeson pick, but not your traditional Liam Neeson type of picture. So with that, I'm going to cut into my brother, Pete Dog. Pete, what are your thoughts on Maestro?
Thanks, Paul. Maestro, co-written, directed, and starring Bradley Cooper. Also was co-written by Josh Singer, who also wrote Spotlight, which is a fantastic film, very well written. And this also stars Carey Mulligan, who plays the wife of Leonard Bernstein. Before this movie came out, I think I've said it before that Oppenheimer is by far and away the best picture of the year, and I was like, Cillian Murphy is going to win Best Actor for sure, until I saw this film. I still don't think it wins Best Picture, but this is hands down the best performance of the year. Bradley Cooper. I went into this movie really wanting to not like it, and there's no way that this guy can be so talented and good looking, and it was so frustrating. And I was completely blown away. His performance was just absolutely stunning. And Carey Mulligan's performance was absolutely incredible as well. This was a beautifully shot movie as well, paced quite nice. The composition of these shots was really, really well done. So we follow Bradley Cooper, who plays Leonard Bernstein. We follow him through sort of how he made his break in composing music. And then he meets his wife, but he's also gay, and yet they have this connection, this love story is what this movie is really all about. That just has every bit of joy and sadness and heartache, and it just encapsulates everything that you kind of go through and experience with love, and it is a really, really beautiful movie. I recommend this highly. 7.1 on IMDb, which is a great score. I would probably put it a lot higher. Bradley Cooper's performance is a 10. Beautiful, beautiful performance.
Awesome. So I agree a lot with what Pete has to say. Maestro is an absolutely incredible film. I could definitely see this winning several Oscars. Definitely is going to be nominated. I feel it's going to have definitely a few nominations. Definitely going to be up there for the best picture candidate. There for a good 45 minutes of this film, this movie was like unstoppable. I think it's some of the best filmmaking you're going to find. I did think the middle kind of dragged a little bit. I think that's kind of where the story just kind of lags a little bit. Sometimes that can happen when you have biopics is because you're really trying to stay true to, the real actual history. Movies are built a certain way, and they have to follow definitely kind of a construct because that's what makes them entertaining. It's the difference between this versus a book, right? We've talked about that. Different mediums require different formats. And so you deal with that sometimes in film where the history doesn't quietly fit very nicely into a film structure. I thought this movie kind of again, after just being on an insane pace in terms of just absolutely incredible, I just thought the middle kind of lagged a little bit. But at the same time, it didn't take away from this film's excellence. And again, I do think this is going to be one of your best picture nods. I agree with Peter. I don't think this is going to win Best Picture, but I do think Bradley Cooper probably is going to lock up that Best Actor nomination. And I think Christopher Nolan's still going to win Best Director as well. Again, Oppenheimer is just a beast that is going to be hard to tackle, but this should not take away anything from what this film does. And I highly recommend everybody see this when it comes out. If you are in the Los Angeles area, it's playing in 2 different theaters. One is the Landmark in Westwood. It's a very cool viewing experience. Again, I think they literally just have like one movie there, but it's right next to UCLA. And if you could check it out there, definitely recommend it. It's great to see it in theater. They have cool little image like pamphlets, if you will, of the movie. And so it's very cool little collector's item if you're into that kind of thing. I got a few myself. And so definitely recommend going to see it there if you can. It's also playing in Bay Theater, I believe. I'm not too sure where that is. I think it's Pacific Palisades is where that is, but don't quote me on that. But again, if you have the opportunity to go see that date night, whatever, this is a great movie for that. But if not, it'll be on Netflix December 20th. So next we have Disney's latest animation film, Wish. Let's again go to Pete. Pete, what are your thoughts on it?
So the latest Disney film is Wish, directed by Chris Buck, who gave us both Frozen 1 and Frozen 2. The voices of this film is Ariana DeBose. I think that's how you pronounce her name. We know her from West Side Story, incredible voice. And Chris Pine plays Magnifico, the king Magnifico. In this, and I didn't know it was Chris Pine at first. Like I knew the voice. I'm like, I know this person, and I couldn't figure it out. And I finally had to look it up, and I'm like, oh, Chris Pine, yeah, that makes sense. Really well done. And so this movie follows Ariana's character, who is going to become the apprentice to the king, King Magnifico. His deal is that he basically is able to take people's wishes, hold on to them, their dreams, and every year he gives a member of the community a dream back and makes all their dreams come true. But she finds out that there's a little bit of some sinister things going on. I think at the end of the day, your kids are going to love this movie. Most kids love everything Disney. I mean, it was decent. I think that it was rather plain, to be honest. The songs are, sort of mediocre at best. It seemed to just want to reference and call back a lot of Disney sayings like "Wish Upon a Star" and "Mirror, Mirror," and it never really kind of grabbed me the way most Disney films do, and it certainly didn't really hit me with the theme that I could kind of continue to carry on in my life. But again, your kids are going to love it. Got a 5.9 on IMDb, which is fitting. I didn't think that this was anything magical at all. I think it really did lack that Disney magic that we're all accustomed to. So see it with your family. You guys will have a blast, but it's certainly not the best Disney movie. Back to you, Paul.
Awesome. Yeah, I did not end up seeing it. To be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to seeing it. I basically chose that or the next movie, Trolls Band Together. And I was like, you know what? Let's divide and conquer. I'm going to go see Trolls Band Together. And I'll tell you what, especially based off what Pete's review is, I'm actually pretty happy that I saw Trolls. I did see the original one. The original one was like, whatever. But it was fun, kind of a fun, easygoing movie experience, and I think Trolls Band Together is very similar experience for kids and even adults. It's a very tolerable film. One, obviously with the music, That's what really is the lifeblood of this film. Great songs that you know and love. They had me when. Now I was a little frustrated though, so they cut in. All of a sudden, they start singing a little bit of Boys to Men, and I'm like, oh, you got me, and hook, line, and sinker. But then, they like switched to another song like right in the middle of it, and my heart was just absolutely broken. But nevertheless, obviously band together, they kind of play on the whole boy band thing, and obviously it's cute with Justin Timberlake and his past history with NSYNC, and the NSYNC guys are in this film as well. And so again, just a good job overall. Quick, fast, and entertaining. Solid story that worked. And because I was a little worried at first, the beginning, I'm like, what's the actual story of this? And then it kicks in and like, oh, okay, that works. That's a good premise. And so again, highly recommend this movie. Entertaining, especially if you love music, 2000s, 90s music. It works a lot. And again, I think the kids, this is one of those, cardiel kids, this is their type of movie. They're going to watch this over and over again on repeat. And so, if you got kids that love musicals and stuff like that, this is definitely a movie to see. And again, parents are going to not hate their lives as well. So take that for what it's worth. Next, we have Genie. Pete, and Genie's on Peacock. So let's go to Pete on his Genie breakdown.
And right now, streaming on the cock is Genie, starring Melissa McCarthy, directed by Sam Boyd. This movie is about a father and husband who is just going through some really hard times, loses his job, or no, he doesn't lose his job. He has to work on the night of his daughter's birthday, and so the wife basically takes the kid away, leaving him all by himself, and he happens upon an old antique relic that he rubs, and out pops a genie, and the genie is played by Melissa McCarthy. At first, I really thought that this was going to be the way it played out at the beginning was very much a Hallmark movie starring Melissa McCarthy, and I was really kind of not really happy as I was going into this movie. And about 15 minutes in, I'm like, what is this? It's just not funny. And then all of a sudden, something happens in this movie, and there is just so much heart in this movie. And I just think it's absolutely adorable. This is a great family watch for sure. Melissa McCarthy always just, continues to amaze me. She just is really one of these actresses, comedic actresses that can really tear your heart out at certain moments. What a talent. It only got a 6 on IMDb, which again is decent. And I think that's fitting. It's a good family movie. And you should check it out for sure. Back to you, Paul.
Awesome. Yeah. Pete saw this before me, and he's like, yeah, pretty decent film. And I was like, okay, cool. So I checked it out myself, and yeah, pretty much as advertised in terms of what Pete in his review. Melissa McCarthy again is super entertaining. She's fun. She's definitely the driving force of this film. Story, I think, it works. This is a good, solid streaming date movie type of a thing. You can watch it with the family. And yeah, it's entertaining. I think it works. I've used this term before, but this is a solid like genre film, right? This isn't a movie that's going to blow anybody away in terms of that, but it doesn't need to be. It's kind of a simple concept, fun concept, that allows someone to really kind of use their talents like Melissa McCarthy was able to do, and really let her go with it. To me, this is kind of like almost like a poor man's Elf. I mean, the storyline's not really the same at all, but in terms of having a very funny person be kind of discovering things and whatnot. So again, really poor man's Elf is kind of a good way to put it, I think. But overall, I thought it was entertaining. It was fun. and just a solid pick. So check that out. Again, good family movie, good date movie type of a thing. Streaming now on Peacock. Next, we have Next Goal Wins, the latest directorial effort from Taika Waititi. And if you're not too familiar with who he is director of Thor. He directed those ones. He's in the Marvel, the MCU. He also acts in a few different movies as well. He was in Free Guy, I believe, is the last thing I saw him in. And so, talented guy. And this movie is about the story of the American Samoa football team. And when I say football, I mean soccer. And so they were one of the worst teams in history. They gave up like 31 goals, I believe it was. And so they're just kind of a laughing stock. And so, the easy comp, obviously, you're probably thinking it yourself, is like, oh, it sounds kind of like a Cool Runnings. And I would say it kind of is. I think overall, I thought this movie was okay. It was kind of a fun movie. I don't think this is Cool Runnings. I don't think it's as good or as tight as Cool Runnings. I don't think the characters are as dynamic, but I do think that the characters and everything else still were entertaining. I'm always a big fan of learning different cultures, and so I do have a lot of Samoan friends, so just kind of learning a little bit more about their culture. I also lived and worked in Hawaii for a little bit, and so very similar dichotomies there. And so I always love when films are able to really explore new and different cultures that we're not super used to or even mainstream. So I did enjoy that element of the film. But yeah, I think as a sports film, I thought, it was a little lacking, but still I thought it was good. And, I think it's towards the end of its theater run. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to check it out while it's still in theaters. But I would say, if you're into sports movies and you kind of like these feel good type of stories, then check it out. Michael Fassbender, I thought did okay. It was hard for me to tell if he knew soccer or played soccer, if he was just one of those actors kind of doing it. So that part, I'm not a huge soccer guy myself, so there might be those that will pick it apart for stuff like that. But again, I thought it was all right. Again, kind of a poor man's Cool Runnings is probably the best comp I can come up with. This is no like Remember the Titans or anything like that. Again, it's not on that level, but I'd say it's kind of like a single, if you will, single, maybe a double, maybe you can stretch it into two, if you want that kind of a comp. But yeah. So if that's those things you kind of like, I'd say check it out. I don't think it's for everybody, but yeah. And then lastly, in the land of saints and sinners, Pete Dog is going to review this one. I did not see this one. This one stars Liam Neeson. Pete Dog, what do you got?
Last but not least for me, I saw a sneaky little film. I don't even know when it came out exactly. I know it came out this year. I'm not sure if it came out this week or not. It's called In the Land of Saints and Sinners, directed by Robert Lorenz. This stars Liam Neeson and Carey Condon, who we know from the Banshees of Inisherin. This is I think one of the last Neeson movies that we reviewed, I said, gosh, I really want him to kind of get away from sort of these movies that he's been doing and almost typecasted in a way. And this is a straight Irish film. He does play, I think he used to work for the IRA or one of the Irish gangs. And basically he's a killer, but he's a professional. And Carey Condon plays a really, really bad, terrible woman, and she just does a great job. Liam Neeson is back to his former glory, nothing over the top. He's very his character needs redemption for basically all the sins that he's committed in his life, and he certainly just carries this film, as does Carey. Carey carries the film. Basically, in the land of saints and sinners, some sins can't be buried. is the tagline. I don't know where you can see it. I was able to catch a screener. It's a good movie, good watch, and it's fun, and it's where we wanted Liam Neeson to be nowadays. So watch it and have fun. Back to you, Paul.
Awesome. You know what? And I forgot to also the holdovers. I did see the holdovers. This is an Alexander Payne film. He directed Sideways, if you're familiar with Sideways, but this stars Paul Giamatti. And this is a very good, I even think, you know, it might get nominated for a couple Oscars, whether it's Paul Giamatti or the screenplay. But this is a real good kind of character piece. Real rich, deep characters. Paul Giamatti obviously just crushes it like he normally does. But if you're a big fan of like Sideways, like films like that are constructed that way, this is like that. Like it takes place in like the 60s, I believe, 60s or 70s. And you know, it's about basically kids that get left over during winter break because they have nowhere to go, and so a teacher has to stay with them. And so it's not like your traditional like story where you know exactly where this is going. You're kind of just like sitting there watching it and kind of going along with the characters. And I think this movie absolutely works. I enjoyed it a lot. And again, I'm not going to be surprised if I see this movie come Oscar time, pick up a couple nominations. Cinematography is actually pretty good too. Just again, they made it look everything super 70s, 60s, whatever the time period exactly was. And really enjoyable, man. You're really in it. Again, really, really good characters and just an interesting story. And if it's still in theaters and you can check it out, I highly recommend it. But if not, definitely check it out when it comes on streaming. So with that, that's going to wrap up this episode. Please make sure you like and share, help us grow. Up next, for next episode, we got a few movies out there. We have Silent Night, which is a new John Woo kind of a vengeance film that takes place during the Christmas time. I have already seen that, but I will share it obviously for the next episode. Next, we have Family Switch that stars Jennifer Gardner and Ed Helms. That's on Netflix now. Also is Eddie Murphy's newest film, Candy Cane Lane, which is on Amazon Prime, which you can also catch now. And then next is a Godzilla -1. This is not part of the Godzilla movies that have been coming out lately. This is a separate one. This is an actual Japanese Godzilla film. It does take place like 1945, 1947. I've heard great things about this film. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Even the original director of the new Godzillas, he was like, that's what a Godzilla movie is supposed to be like. So that's very, very high praise. So looking forward to see that one. That's in theaters right now. And then lastly, The Shift. We're going to check that one out as well. So with that is a cut, guys. Thanks.